welcome. You're watching Health and Wellness Myths and Facts. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. Today we're going to focus on nutrition, a critical part of health and development. Proper nutrition helps us to maintain a healthy immune system, and eating a nutritional diet also helps improve not just our physical but our mental health, giving us more energy, helping us be more active. It also helps us prevent and better manage various metabolic disorders. If you have type 2 diabetes or heart disease, then making the right food choices can help in a variety of ways, maintaining healthy weight, controlling blood sugar, protecting your heart. Now, faced with food choices, it is easy to get confused about what you can and cannot eat. So to clear those questions and bust the myths surrounding nutrition, as always, we have experts with us. We can introduce them now. Dr. Ghulam Subhani, MBBS MD, Family Medicine, Postgraduate Diploma in Diabetology, PGDD. He's a diabetologist with the Heal Polyclinic in Hyderabad. Thank you very much for joining us. Also with us, Dr. Rasheed Ahmed, MBBS MD and DM, Cardiology, Senior Consultant Cardiologist with the Manipur Hospital in Jaipur. Thank you both. Dr. Subhani, let me begin with you. Now, some patients do manage to have a healthy diet but still have fluctuating blood sugar levels. They're unable to lose weight. What is the thing that they're missing out on? Is there something that you tell your patients to focus on in order to maintain weight loss and maintain an ideal sugar level? Is there a basic diet that can be followed by everybody looking to do these things, achieve these goals?
Yeah, to start with, first of all, we need to know what a healthy diet is, because there is a lot of, myths and facts about, what a healthy diet is. Just having, a kind of a packed food. We need to differentiate first between a healthy diet, like, what is a good carbohydrate and what is a bad carbohydrate. When we include good carbohydrates, like nuts, vegetables, seafood, or poultry, or ghee, butter, those are the good carbohydrates. But when you go to the bad carbohydrates, these are mainly the processed foods. Like, you go to any fancy store, you buy stuff from there, and then you have it thinking that it's having, good carbohydrate, but they are usually devoid of the essential nutrients and the fiber content. That is the reason why there is, fluctuation in the blood sugar levels. And of course, when there is a fluctuation, these kind of basically this thing becomes more of consumer friendly, and these kind of fluctuations are there in the blood sugar, and of course you feel very lethargic even after having a meal, because suddenly your sugar levels tend to rise because it is not having protein, it is not having fiber, and makes you hungry soon. And the most important thing is exercise. Majority of the people, they have that, that okay, fine, we will exercise from tomorrow, but that tomorrow usually never comes. Why exercise is important? Because when you start exercising, insulin is being released inside your body, and that insulin itself is lowering your blood sugar levels. So that is the most important aspect of exercise, that insulin is being released, and of course it's controlling your sugar levels. Plus the kind of lives we lead nowadays, it's very stressful, lack of sleep, and we are stressed out, and so many other things are there. Exercise is not there. There is a lot of anxiety related to work, and the stress hormone cortisol is being released in large amounts. So when the stress hormone is being released in large amounts, of course the sugar levels of course tend to rise, and that itself will bring your blood glucose levels out of control. So mainly have a healthy diet that is good carbohydrate, and exercise is the most important thing.
All right. So exercise is something obviously that we can't forget about at any given time when we're also talking about a nutritional diet. Dr. Ahmed, there's so many terms that are thrown around. Antioxidants are good for your heart health is something that we keep hearing. But, what do we mean specifically by antioxidants? Which foods are rich in antioxidants? How does it promote good heart health? If you could tell us a little more about this.
Antioxidants are substances. They are present in certain food items in the body. They are coenzyme Q10, lycopene, beta-carotene, vitamin C, E, and selenium. So to understand the benefits of antioxidant, first, there is a balance of oxidation and antioxidants in the body.
Right.
When under certain circumstances or diseases, there is excessive oxidative stress because of increased production of reactive oxygen species. So this increased oxidative stress leads to progression of atherosclerosis, or simply put, deposition of cholesterol in the coronary artery or arteries of the heart. And this deposition of cholesterol is the main cause of the coronary artery disease, which is the most common heart problem, which leads to these heart attacks, angina, and heart failure. So these antioxidants, by countering this oxidative stress, they help in preventing the progression of the atherosclerosis or deposition of the cholesterol in the arteries. So by preventing the deposition of the cholesterol in the coronary arteries, they prevent blockage in the coronary arteries and heart attacks and angina. So there are certain food items which are good source of these antioxidants. They are mainly first the fresh fruits and vegetables. Fruits especially like plums, pomegranate, blackberries, gooseberries, and vegetables like cauliflower, red cabbage, beets, tomato. And then there's nuts and seeds are also good source of these antioxidants. Nuts especially almonds, walnut, pistachio, and then another good source of antioxidants are spices like cinnamon, cloves, and antioxidants are present in some amount in this coffee and chocolate also. So by consuming the foods rich in antioxidants, we counter the oxidative stress and prevent the progression of deposition of cholesterol in the coronary arteries that leads to prevention of the heart diseases.
Right. Dr. Subhani, there have been instances when people with diabetes switch to a low-carb diet and their glucose level actually rose after eating. So, how does that happen? Also, what would you advise in terms of, for those who need to gain weight, how do they do that without increasing their sugar levels? What's the best way?
See, the thing is that according to the experts, this is majority of the times it's kind of likely to happen, but it's not necessarily a cause of concern. And if you follow a strict low carb diet, then you may experience a symptom known as physiological insulin resistance. And especially people who are on a ketogenic diet, now they train their body in such a way that they use fat as a fuel. Okay, when they use fat as a fuel instead of sugars. So that is how they train their body. So what happens is when they use fat as a fuel, the sugar remains in the blood. That is the reason the sugar levels tend to get higher. And if you have, if you are a type 2 diabetic and if you're doing regular exercise and maintaining a healthy body weight, then these things can be easily, taken care of. And I always tell my patients not to have 3 meals a day. I always tell them to have 6 meals a day, because we are in the habit of kind of, you can say binging. Suddenly we have one big meal a day, and then morning and evening we have little, and then we think that, we are eating less food. But actually that's not the case. We are binging upon it. So make short meals, take it 6 times a day, and the foods which kind of, causes big rise in your sugar levels, those are to be avoided, like, sugary drinks, and these things need to be avoided. And the best things are meat, legumes, fish, chicken or poultry, butter. These are the things which you really need to have, and regular exercise is the key.
All right. Dr. Ahmed, it's said that monounsaturated fats like olive oil can actually be good for your heart. What type of oil then is most beneficial for use by people who have an existing heart disease? Can you make recommendations? Should they be switching oils out frequently? Because that's something else we keep hearing about. What's your take on this?
First, before coming to the oils to consume, we should understand that all fats are not bad.
Right.
So, as I already told you, basic underlying mechanism of this coronary artery disease is deposition of the cholesterol in the coronary artery, which leads to blockage. And there are some bad cholesterols and good cholesterol. Bad cholesterol is like total cholesterol, triglycerides, and LDL. And good cholesterol is HDL. So these monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, they increases the good cholesterol and decreases the bad cholesterol. So thereby they prevent the deposition of cholesterol in the artery, and ultimately they prevent the blockage in the coronary arteries. So there are certain oils which are good source of this monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, especially olive oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. This simply most common oil used in India, mustard oil, this groundnut oil, canola oil. These are good source of these monounsaturated, polyunsaturated fats. So they are good for health, but they should not be taken in excessive amounts because they are also source of calories. So as compared to these tropical oils like coconut oil and palm oil, which are sources of saturated fatty acids and trans fats, these olive oil and other oils which are good source of monounsaturated are better for heart.
Right. Dr. Subhani, one other thing that we keep hearing about nowadays is intermittent fasting. You have celebrities talking about it. You have friends and family who've tried it and ostensibly have had great results with it. But Can people with diabetes try intermittent fasting to lose weight? How does that impact their diabetes medication that they have to take at specific times of day? Your thoughts on this?
See, now that's a very good question. Now, intermittent fasting. Now, that thing has kind of taken up in a big way by many people across the globe. And the types of intermittent fasting they do is that is 16:8. That is, 8 hours they eat and then 16 hours they fast. Or it can be 5/7, like, 5 days a week they eat and then the rest 2 days they just have 500 calories per day, or alternative fasting. Now, all fastings are good, but specifically in diabetics, there is no such regimen where you can say, okay, fine, this is the best for diabetes. But if a patient of diabetes, he is going for intermittent fasting, he needs to adjust the dosage of his sugar medicines. For example, if he's taking any medicine, say 3 times a day, and he's fasting for 16 hours a day. So obviously that will invariably bring down his sugar levels to a very low level. Like, patient can have hypoglycemia, that's low blood sugar. Then he will have symptoms and he'll get panicky. So he needs to adjust the dose of the sugar tablets, and then, he needs to monitor his sugar levels, and of course, exercise again, and the diet which he is following, he has to have an expert opinion and not just go by what he's reading here and there, and by just going by it. He needs to follow a strict diet, plus the dosage of the medication should be adjusted in order to avoid hypoglycemia, especially if it's very dangerous if hypoglycemia occurs during the sleep. It can cause irreversible brain damage. So of course it's very important for that in that aspect.
Thank you. That was very clear. We will take a very quick break at this point, but lots more to talk about, including what kind of diet to have after undergoing a cardiac procedure. Also, what kind of diets to have if you're overweight but also have type 2 diabetes. We'll talk about all that when we come back in just a moment. Welcome back to Health and Wellness, Myths versus Facts. We're talking about the very important role that nutrition plays in managing chronic metabolic conditions, and we have experts taking your questions. Now, Dr. Ahmed, let me come back to you. Diet, as we've been discussing, plays a very important role in managing long-term metabolic conditions. But what about short-term, immediately after, for instance, a cardiac procedure? Is there a special diet that a person should be following, say, after angioplasty or after stenting?
Yeah. This cardiac process of stenting is nowadays very common, because a lot of patients are suffering from coronary artery disease. So this is a very good question. So to prevent the further events, the patients who are undergone stenting or angioplasty should follow a healthy cardiometabolic diet. So there are certain foods which has to be taken, and there are certain foods which has to be avoided. So first we'll come to the foods which has to be taken by these patients. First, they should take, coming to the grains, they should take whole grains instead of refined grains or processed grains, like this maida and a processed flour, because these whole grains have adequate amount of fibers that are good for the cardiometabolic health. Then coming to the fruits and vegetables, they should take ample amount of fruit and vegetables, because fruits and vegetables are good source of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and other micronutrients. So the patient should have at least 3 servings of fruits and 3 servings of vegetables. And these fruits and vegetables are to be taken as much possible in their natural forms. We should avoid seasonings and toppings because they add extra calories. And they are very good source of antioxidants and vitamins. Then seeds and nuts. And nuts are also good source of antioxidants. So a patient should take nuts around 4 to 5 servings per week. Nuts especially like almonds, these walnuts, chestnuts, and pistachios. Then coming to the oils, as we already discussed, they should consume oils which are good source of monounsaturated and polysaturated fats like olive oil, sunflower oil, and this mustard oil, groundnut oil, olive oil. And they should avoid the oils which are a high source of saturated fatty acids or trans fats, like tropic oils. We come to coconut oil, palm oil. Then the oils derived from animal sources. So they should avoid fat-full dairy products and processed meat. Then they should take sprouts and legumes, and they should maintain adequate hydration. And there are certain foods which has to be avoided, like they should avoid excess consumption of salt. The salt consumption should be limited to around 2 grams per day. So you avoid added salt in your diet, and soon within few days your taste buds get acclimatized to low salt diet. So your salt should be low. You should avoid this refined grains, processed foods, and should be avoided because they contains high source this salt and saturated fatty acids. And these fried foods, especially Indians are fond of fried foods like parathas, pakoda, and these puris. The fried food should be avoided, and instead of that, we should use baked foods, grilled food, or boiled food. And these alcoholic beverages should be avoided, and these sugar sweetened beverages like colas, sodas, and they should be avoided. And bakery products like donuts, biscuits, they should be avoided, or limited consumption of these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Subhani, for people with type 2 diabetes who are also overweight, is there a certain specific diet that they can follow? Is there a restriction to the number of carbohydrates or the amount of carbohydrates or sugar per day that they should be taking?
See, actually, many studies have suggested a certain amount, but it kind of varies from individual to individual. Because somebody will be of high body weight, somebody will be of low body weight, and also it varies from men among women. So approximately 45 grams of carbohydrates per day for a lady, and for a man it's around 60 grams per day. It depends on, it's very variable, it depends on the body size, and of course a man having 60 grams of carbohydrates, even then his sugar levels may be normal. But mainly we need to see that the kind of foods we are eating. Now we need to more emphasize or stress on taking complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates, as Dr. Rasheed had mentioned, that it contains whole grains, it contains fruits, it contains vegetables. These are the complex carbohydrates. When you go to non-complex or simple carbohydrates, these are the, you can say the simple carbohydrates like sugary drinks or any beverages or the donuts. All those things are a strict no. And these kind of things are, when we are taking a complex carbohydrate, they have the fiber content is high, the protein content is high, and of course when the fiber content is high, it is taking care of your cholesterol levels, and of course the constipation is relieved, and of course once constipation is relieved, it's kind of a happy morning.
Right. Dr. Ahmed, should all our nutrients then come from the diet that we're consuming? Do you recommend taking vitamin supplements at all, or any other kind of supplements for that matter, or should it all come from the food we have? And if you do take supplements, can it actually help prevent heart disease?
This is a very relevant question. Although some vitamin deficiencies leads to heart disease, like thiamine deficiency leads to cardiomyopathy or the decrease in the pumping function of your heart. But there are a lot of studies conducted with these vitamin supplements, but none has found to be beneficial in this prevention of the heart disease. This is because in supplements we are supplying only those vitamins, and it's not only those vitamins. Because if the vitamins are taken from the natural sources like fruits and vegetables, they contain other nutrients also like fibers, antioxidants, minerals, and other micronutrients. So this is the concept of whole diet rather than focusing on a particular nutrient aspect of the diet. The whole diet should be taken so that these vitamins derived from natural sources like fruits and vegetables are more beneficial than these supplements. Supplements should be taken only when you have a documented deficiency of particular vitamin. Otherwise, routine supplementation of these vitamins is not recommended. Vitamins and antioxidants supplements should be taken from natural sources, especially fruits and vegetables. They are good source of vitamins and antioxidants, and they have high content of fibers, which by replacing high content fibers, you replace unhealthy foods from your diet, because these fibers promote satiety. So these vitamin supplementation, they should all preferably come from the natural sources, and no studies till date has found antioxidant supplements or vitamin supplements from artificial sources to be beneficial for the prevention of heart disease.
All right. Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Subhani, thanks very much indeed for that very detailed conversation about nutrition and just what needs to be done in order to manage both diabetes and hypertension through a balanced and nutritious diet. We hope this has been useful for all of you watching. Thanks for joining us.